almost 10 years ago, I went overseas to camp to preach for this church. And during the dinner time, the elder of the church sat me down and dinner with me, and he asked me to speak with his son. At the time, his son was about 25 years old. His son grew up in junior Sunday school, in youth group, and now grew up in a church setting. But the reason is that the son has given up on his Christian faith, and he has become an atheist. Reason? Well, the son went overseas to study. He went to the States to study philosophy. And while he was studying philosophy, he can't reconcile his faith with what he studied and the challenges that was posted to him from the philosophical ideas. And end up, the son gave up his faith. Case number 2. This person is a university student. It's called Calvin Rose. He's a self-proclaimed agnostic, and also an atheist. He's a skeptic about religion and about spirituality. And he wanted to do a study about religion and to write a book on it. So he chose a very conservative Christian college in the States. It's called Liberty University. And he went there, want to live among the Christians and want to know what is it like to live in a Christian environment. So when he was there in the university, pretending to be a Christian himself, he joined the evangelical concert choir. So he participated in the choir, he went for a mission trip, and he even learned how to preach during the mission trip. And that's what he said. He says the hardest thing living among the Christians, was definitely the non-cursing rule. That means they cannot use the 4-letter words. Because all Christians, I actually had to buy a Christian self-help book called 30 Days of Taming Your Tongue, which tells you how to replace your 4-letter vulgarities with words like glory instead of the F word, or mercy, or bless you, bless me, whatever. So he tried to replace it that way. And he succeeded. He even did experience on prayers. He prays. And in his book, he actually says he learned how to say, Amen. God, even that we pray, prayer always like, Lord, even for this, even for that. He learns all these Christian terms in prayer. And that's what he says about prayer. He says, I do try to pray every day, even though I'm still not convinced there's any cosmic effect. I try to remember what Oswald Chambers says about prayer. Wow, Oswald Chambers, which is that it is not so much that prayer changes things, but that prayer changes us and we change things. So even if God isn't listening, I think the practice of praying for other people can make us more selfless, more willing to reach out. Well, that's what he said about prayer, experimenting on the amens and all. And he even went to the street to share the gospel, which is what we call street evangelism. He did that. After he finished his attachment, for a few semesters, nobody found out he was actually not a Christian. Nobody knew. Believe that? He learned, he imitated the Christian behaviors, lingos, and at the end of it, he published his book. It's called The Unlikely Disciple. He published his book in 2009. Case number 3. It's what we read in our responsive reading, Simon the magician. This is a different Simon from Jesus' disciple. This Simon is a Samaritan. Simon the magician witnessed signs and wonders that Philip performed. Verse 6, take a look at the responsive reading. And he was mightily impressed. And he was amazed. Verse 13 says he was so amazed by what Philip was doing. And in fact, verse 30 says he believed what was being preached. What's the end result? It wasn't a very good end result. Look at verse 22 to 23. It seems that when Peter pronounced a judgment on him, it is a judgment fitting for unbelievers than believers. He was actually deemed by Peter as not a Christian. He witnessed signs and wonders, but he wandered away from the faith. I've actually, in my growing up years, I have friends who belong to churches that are very expressive, and they believe in signs and wonders. I have friends who grew up with me, we did evangelism together and all this, but my friends, a few of them left the Christian faith after that. There are three types of faith. These three types of faith, case 1, 2, and 3, these three types of faith are not real faith, and they are not genuine faith. Result, they gave up their faith, and they wandered away. Oh, of course, some of them managed to remain in the church for a long time, probably until the deathbed, and pretending as per normal that they are Christians. But the question is, will they be able to pretend and escape the final judgment of God? The question we have asked ourselves is, does any of these cases represent you? Well, in John 2, he pointed out this type of faith. Let's do a quick recap. And John 4, that's the quick recap. John 4, verse 39 to 42, about the Samaritan village. That's what the passage we talked about last week, but I'm going to touch on it again, as I promised last week. Many Samaritans came to know Jesus and believe in Jesus, verse 39 says. And what was the reason? If you take a look at it, verse 39, it says, they believe because of the woman's word, the woman's testimony about Jesus. So they came and they believed in Jesus. And later in verse 40, they say they came searching for Jesus and they urged Jesus to stay with them. And Jesus did for 2 days, verse 40. And probably during these 2 days, they interviewed Jesus. You expect a Q&A session that the Samaritan people had with Jesus, and they ask him questions and they hear Jesus' teaching. So, and the crucial thing is verse 41 and 42. There is a switch. There's a change. Many more believed. In fact, many more changed from believing the woman's word to Jesus' word, because they heard the words of Jesus. Verse 41 says, many more believe because of his words. And they themselves testify, they say, we believe no longer because of what you say, they told the woman, but because of we heard for ourselves. Can you see? So there was a change from a second-hand testimony to a first-hand encounter. So I put here, this is something very crucial for us. A switch. There was a switch from a second-hand testimony to a direct personal encounter with Jesus through his word. There was a switch from a second-hand testimony to a direct personal encounter with Jesus through his word. This is something very important. It's very important for, especially probably people who grew up in a church setting, the second, the third generation believers. We need all these things. Or at least people who have a similar experience like this. Myself, one of them. I'm a bit like that. Though I come from a Buddhist family, but I followed my sister. I heard about Christianity at the age of 8. Then I followed my sister, my older sister, to church at the age of about 11. And so I followed blindly. I follow them come to church and I say, people close their eyes to pray. They say, okay, close my eyes to pray. Must put their hand together, so I put my hand together. So I practice this a few more times. So I think, I must be a Christian. And it is not a real faith that I had at that time. I'm just like the first case study, the elder's son, his son. And in our first case, what kind of faith do you call this? And I put that in a sermon outline. This is called borrowed faith. The faith doesn't belong to us. It is my parents, it is my leaders' faith, my teachers' faith, but it's never my faith. And they blindly follow their parents. But don't get me wrong. The disclaimer is that it is not your fault, it's not our fault to grow up as a second generation or third generation Christian. It's not our fault. And it doesn't mean that, okay, since third generation Christians grow up, will be like that, they have borrowed faith, so we stop all our Christian education. No, it doesn't mean that also. It doesn't mean that we push our children out of the church so that they will end up as a first generation Christian. It doesn't mean any of these things. In fact, what it means is, it is a precious thing actually. It is a precious thing to grow up in a Christian setting, in a Christian home, as a second, third generation Christian. It is a precious thing for us parents to pass our faith to the next generation. It's a precious thing. Like the Jews have They grow up with God's law in their hands. Remember in verse 22, and the whole family will be saved. Or probably people are thinking of Acts 16:31. Say, believe in the Lord Jesus, you will be saved, you and your household. Remember that verse? But before you claim this verse, you must understand it was first spoken with its context. It is a narrative. It is describing what was happening. It is not prescribing a formula. Remember this, a narrative is describing what is happening. It's not prescribing a formula. If you want to claim this verse for yourself, number one, you must be a jailer. Number two, Paul must be speaking to you. But you're not a jailer and you did not jail Paul, so you cannot anyhow claim this verse. But the principle behind this verse, believe in the Lord Jesus, you will be saved, you and your family, is about faith. It's not about you will be saved and your family. It says, believe in the Lord Jesus. That's a key principle. If you believe, you will be saved. If your family believe, they will be saved. Because the key principle behind this verse is faith. It's not that it's an automatic thing that you save, your whole family will all be saved. Because salvation is a personal response to God. So what is needed for a second generation Christian, a third generation Christian, or people like us, like myself, who grew up thinking that I'm a Christian in a Christian environment? But what is needed is this. We cannot remain in this borrowed faith. We cannot remain in our borrowed faith. We need to switch from a borrowed faith, like the Samaritan says, I no longer believe because of what you say. But I heard it for myself. Can you see? We need to move from a borrowed faith to a personal faith in Jesus. We need to move from a borrowed faith to a personal faith in Jesus. But there's another type of dangerous faith that we need to reckon with. Verse 43 to 45. You see, Jesus now was going up to Galilee, and he bypassed Nazareth, which is his hometown. Let me show you the map. Yeah, this is the map here. So Jesus was going from here. Okay. So he bypassed the arrow spot there is Nazareth, his hometown. Because his hometown people, in verse 44 tell us, the Nazareth people actually rejected him. Right? But the Galileans welcomed him. You see? Verse 45 says the Galileans welcomed Jesus. Wow, that seems to be a very positive sign. Or was it? Was it a positive sign? Let's take a closer look at it. Actually, the verse 45 tells us the reason why these Galileans received a welcome Jesus. Because they have seen all the signs, all the things that they've done in Jerusalem. Yes, they welcomed Jesus, but it was not a good sign. It was because they received him because of the signs that they saw. They welcomed Jesus, they received him. That does not mean they really believed in him. Even when they believe, they claim that they believe in Jesus, that does not mean it's a genuine faith. You may ask me, how do you know? It seems to be a positive thing. Well, we take a look at verse 48. Jesus says, you simply will not believe unless you see signs and wonders. Unless you see signs. Verse 48, Jesus was giving a negative comment on the kind of faith that they have, or kind of reception that they give. If ESV doesn't give us a clear translation of this verse, ESV says, unless you believe, unless you see signs and wonders, you will not believe. The you here is actually a plural form. It actually includes the Galileans. Jesus wasn't speaking to the royal official. He was speaking to a crowd of people. Probably in this Galilean region, the people were crowding to see miracles. So when this official approached Jesus says, unless when he made this request, all the Galileans was like, wow, is that something going to happen? Is there some kind of magic going to happen, some signs and wonders? So Jesus looked at them and says, unless you guys, unless you people, NASB translate as, unless you people see signs and wonders, you simply will not believe. So what kind of faith do you call this? And I put in the outline as I call this faith a superficial faith. They welcome Jesus. It was a positive attitude. But positive attitude doesn't mean it's true faith. What then is superficial faith? I define it as this. They could be politically right about Jesus, but that's not a genuine faith. They could even be supportive. There are people who say, well, they're very supportive of me coming to church, of my own Christian faith, me going to, they have no objection of me going for mission trip, And they don't speak ill of the Christian faith or Jesus Christ. But that does not mean the person is a real believer. You get it? And the most dangerous part is that superficial faith can even imitate the real faith. They can pray, they can go to church, they can read the Bible, they can do evangelism, preach the gospel, they can be baptized, go through Christian preachers, baptized, and they can partake in the Holy Communion like any one of us. They can imitate the faith, just like Calvin Rose in our case number 2. He did everything, but he was not a Christian, be very clear of it. But people can't tell. Can you see? For a few semesters he was in the college, people cannot tell that he wasn't a believer at all. They can imitate very well. And there are many others who are like that. They can do the things, they can have this superficial faith, they have a very positive attitude towards the Christian faith, but they don't have a genuine faith. What then, you may ask, is a genuine faith? What then is a genuine faith? Verse 46 to 54. This royal official came to seek Jesus. He's from the region of Capernaum in Galilee, and he traveled Canaan. Okay, and it's from here. You can see the map. So he traveled from this place to here. The distance is about 40 miles, or about 23 kilometers. So, and we were up and down hills journey. So it took about a day's journey for him to travel from Capernaum to Canaan. And his son was sick. And not just simply sick, his sickness was all the way to the point of death. Can you see how urgent that is? Verse 47, verse 49, he says, "For my son is going to die." Oh, so it's very urgent. So he heard about Jesus, he came and seek help. And when he says, "Come, for my son was at the point of death," verse 47, Jesus turned and said to him, "Unless you people see signs and wonders, you will not believe." Well, this is not a heartless comment from Jesus. It's not a heartless comment from Jesus. Jesus was simply addressing you people, the Galilean crowd of people. He said, unless you see signs and wonders, you will simply not believe. Because it seems that when the royal official asked him, the crowd was like, wow, if something is going to happen, maybe lightning strike across the sky or something like that. So Jesus was more pointing out that he seeks the right type of faith. He was more towards pointing out to them he was seeking the right type of faith. And or rather he's telling them he rejects the sign-based faith. Jesus rejects the sign-based faith. Why? Some of us may say, isn't it true when people say seeing is believing? Isn't it true? If I conversation, if I see it, I believe. Seeing is believing what? Isn't it true? Moreover, in our today's context, there are many miracles rallies, healing gospel rallies done by many churches. Isn't it true? And it seems very effective. A lot of people seem to believe in Jesus. So what's wrong with it? You may ask. Well, there are two reasons we might really think about this kind of sign-based faith. Number one, why Jesus reject them? Because sign-based faith is a self-seeking faith. I can benefit from it. Jesus can heal me from my illness. I can be well again. Or I can strike lottery, some kind of this kind of thing. The sign-based faith. Something about myself I can benefit about God when I come to believe. It's a self-seeking thing. And this science-based faith is also trying to domesticate God. Domesticate God. It's making God do what they want. Behave in a certain way, then I'll believe in Him. If you heal me, then I will believe in you. So it's trying to domesticate God to do their business. It's a very urgent matter. It's a day's travel from his home. His son is probably going to die very soon. Jesus just simply turned to him and says, "Go." Verse 50. Your son lives. That's all that Jesus said. And the scripture tells us he believed. Verse 53. Verse 50, when Jesus says, "Go, your son lives," the man believed the words that Jesus said. Verse 42, 41, 42, 41 says, "Many believe because of his word." Can you see? It repeats again. verse 42, they tell this woman, the Samaritan woman, we no longer believe because of what you say, but we have heard for ourselves. So see, it is here the word is the key that John, the gospel writer, is telling us. This is the definition of a genuine faith. 1 chapter 4, I'm trying to do a condensed version of chapter 4 for us. There are some things that Jesus says. There are 3 things: His claim, His teaching, and His offer. So we must believe these 3 things in chapter 4. At least John was bringing up to us these 3 things that Jesus, His claim about Himself, His teaching about Himself, and His offer. What did Jesus claim about Himself? Number 1, Jesus claimed that He is the Christ. Remember chapter 4, verse 26 to verse 25, the woman told, remember what they are His teaching. But verse 24, at least in this passage, chapter of 24, we know that He teach about true worship. True worship is about worshiping God in spirit and in truth, because God is spirit. So He can make you and me a true worshipper of God again. Because all of us worship things, whether we like it or not. Since a child, we worship things or worship people. What do we worship? We worship toy when we were a child. When you grow up, what do we worship? We worship teachers and friends. When we grow older, what do we worship? We worship fun, money. Jesus Himself says, if you drink the water that I will. Condensed version of chapter 4 for us. There are some things that Jesus says. There are 3 things: His claim, His teaching, and His offer. So we must believe these 3 things in chapter 4. At least John was bringing up to us these 3 things that Jesus, His claim about Himself, His teaching about Himself, and His offer. What did Jesus claim about Himself? Number 1, Jesus claimed that He is the Christ. Remember chapter 4, verse 26 to verse 25, the woman told, remember what they are His teaching. But verse 24, at least in this passage, chapter of 24, we know that He teach about true worship. True worship is about worshiping God in spirit and in truth, because God is spirit. So He can make you and me a true worshipper of God again. Because all of us worship things, whether we like it or not. Since a child, we worship things or worship people. What do we worship? We worship toy when we were a child. When we grow up, what do we worship? We worship teachers and friends. When we grow older, what do we worship? We worship fun, money. In fact, will become in Him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. This is what He offers us. He graciously offers to anyone. The question is, do you believe? Do you believe His word? The question is, do you possess the genuine faith? And 3 things, 3 areas of applications for us to think about. Number 1, what should we do? We should reflect. What kind of faith do we have? If you reflect and realize that my understanding of the Christian faith is just a superficial faith. I just like the idea, but I never really give my life to Jesus. Then you need to switch from a superficial faith to a real faith. And if you are a sign-based faith, it's a self-seeking faith, where I'm here because I can benefit from it, then you need to change. He accepts this royal official, who's most likely a Gentile. Any race, he will accept. Whether you are religiously upright or you are immorally downright social outcast, he will accept. He is a very gentle Savior who doesn't reject any sinner. In fact, He came as a Lamb of God to sacrifice for our sins. Right? And He offers His Holy Spirit to change us and to help us. So, if you realize after reflecting, then it's time for us to confess and to acknowledge that this is the real Savior of the world and come to Him. Okay, but if you are not sure, you are in doubt, then ask. Meet with someone in the church, meet with someone that you can trust. Talk to the person, ask questions, discuss about your faith over the Bible. Open up the Word and say, I'm not sure about my faith. Ask questions. Right? And seek. Sometimes maybe just read some book materials that you have. So I have some books here. If you are not sure, you can read a good book like this, Turning Point, by Warren Roberts, very easy reading book that talk about our Christian faith. When is the turning point that we should make of our life? Turning point. How the whole entire history of the Bible is, and what the turning point is when someone encountered Jesus personally. I read this book, it was a very good book. All what Priscilla have introduced to us, real the Christian. You may have many questions about Christian faith. You may. Then ask these questions. This book asks a lot of these questions and try to answer those questions about Christian faith. Read this book, Real the Christian, and it's a very easy reading book. Questions like, did Jesus really rise from the dead? Questions like this. Questions like, isn't suffering pointless? There are many questions, there are short answers to these questions. So you may have doubts about Christian faith. Ask them. Don't just push them and brush them aside. But if you, after reflecting and thank God that you are a genuine Christian, thank God for that, or what should we do? Well, for genuine Christians, for believers, you grow in your faith by the Word. Sometimes Christians come and ask me and say, how can I grow in my faith? How can I grow in my faith? Well, the only way for you and me to grow in our faith is to humbly learn, read the Bible prayerfully. Learn and read the Bible prayerfully. Remember Romans 10:17? It says, faith comes from hearing. It didn't say faith comes from seeing. It says faith comes from hearing the word of Christ. So if you want to, as genuine believers, if you want to grow in your faith, take every opportunity to learn, to read prayerfully the word of God. With someone in a group setting, whether it's IDG or on your own, or with a pair of friends, read the Word of God on your own, in your quiet time, and you read the Word of God, and you will grow in your faith. If you don't read, then your faith will stagnate. Worse, it will deteriorate. You get me? Yeah. So, Christian, this is what we should do. Faith, we must have a